do you think that is?
You never know. There's not much on their agenda for Thursday, so this part should go pretty quick.
Yeah. Kim talked to you about,
24 hours?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna be remote,
Okay.
so.
You should be okay.
We had one council member who would have been remote, but he resigned.
Hey, Sally.
Hey, who's that?
Called, Brian. He resigned.
Hey, Sally.
Hey, who's that?
Called, Brian. He resigned.
Yeah,
Shouldn't have
they
anybody
came
remote
through.
Thursday.
Okay, well then,
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah,
Yeah, I haven't prepared for
yeah.
that.
It's just, I just
Hadn't
want to talk
prepared
to
to hear
them,
that.
so.
Yeah,
But yeah,
come back Friday at 7
I,
p.m.
Saturday morning.
And then everybody
when I went to
decided
look
to show
for,
up.
they didn't have in on the DMC.
I'm gonna
Same dealer. Kept going back and forth.
Hey, how are you?
So,
Can I sit here?
Sure.
I saw another one in, in Kernersville.
Here you go.
I went up to Kernersville
We'll need batteries.
and just take a
I'll
look
look
at
at that one.
this one. The look that he had up there. That did some things I wanted. I was gonna put it. I knew I could never actually acted on the last day of the month of November and on December. But it was the last day of November. So
Do we need
I
that other
would
one up
get
there?
you immediately for that.
That other mic?
Good morning.
Kim.
Fast and fast.
How are you?
Hanging in there. I'm thinking he's kidding. Like
What we can do?
let's see if you can prove that. And he goes,
Testing.
my step.
No, don't hear anything.
No?
No.
Hello. He said, I got one on the lot. It's only one, limited version, so. And the keys and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, thank you. So yeah, I took it out and he come back. He didn't go, but it, you know, it's gonna cost another, I mean, literally, they just like. Yeah, yeah. Well, so I went down to, Randy Marion. Jenny was down there kind of renting, we had a flow, Honda, I mean, flow. And, also we on the road and stuff, you know, we don't have that, we can try, it might take us a couple weeks or so. Really, I got a lot going on. So he said, actually, same thing.
You don't need Adam, do you?
What one?
Need Adam?
I don't think so. Yeah, I might be able to find something on Monday.
Sorry.
Or you back. So, this is, I don't know what around. I hear anything. And at that point, I was up at the Kernersville. I just said, man, I said, you know, I see this field. What can I do that to you? Yeah, I appreciated that.
Maybe
Gary, you
Gary
need a
or
mic?
Jonathan down that way.
Here for Jonathan when he comes in, I guess. Yeah.
Well, we can only
We-
have 10, so.
Yeah, we've kind of told staff unless they were needed for something or had something on the agenda, we'd, you know, not to be in here. I mean, if you have something for him, I can,
when you talk
relay.
about-
No, that's fine, that's fine. I knew I saw him and I thought maybe he forgot something.
We're all here. We'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to our agenda briefing, December, the last one for the year. Interesting saying that. Seems like this year went by fast, but it also feels like it's been forever. So, again, appreciate everyone working with us as we continue working through our COVID-19 pandemic. We are still streaming live, and hopefully folks can hear us and see us. Just want to make sure that we're all in our mask and socially distance here. I think we got plenty of distance, and hopefully everyone remains safe. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order and see if there are any adjustments to the agenda. I am going to ask that we add a section on our closed session to discuss a personnel matter pursuant to North Carolina General Statute. And Sally or Gary can help me with that. 143-318.11. 6. Add that to the agenda. If there's no other additions, I'll ask for a motion to adopt our agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion is made to adopt the agenda as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made, received a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion passes. First item on our agenda is general business. And it is open to council first. I'll start with Mr. Now.
Okay, first I would just like to wish the residents of Troutman a very healthy and happy holidays and a happy new year. Regarding business, I just got a couple things I'd like to bring up. Unfortunately, because we really technically don't have a full-time town manager, I brought this up in November, and I guess I'll bring it up now. I do not know if I brought it up under the closed part of our meeting. So we have a part-time code administrator or a code enforcement person named, I don't know if I'm going to spell his name the right way, John Ganus, G-A-N-U-S. And there was a newspaper article that came out in the Charlotte Ledger on October 26, 2020. I won't waste people's time regarding the article, but this gentleman is a part-time employee for us and made comments in this article where basically he sounded a lot foolish, didn't know what he was saying, and basically should have had no comment. So I would like to see something go in this gentleman's file, even though he is a part-time employee, admonishing him of what he did.
Huh?
My second thing is, I hope once we get a full-time town manager, that we start to get our monthly reports back, because they didn't seem to have come in the last couple of weeks. And it's a very important part with knowing what's going on in the town. So I'd like to see us hopefully get back on track with those reports.
Mr. Harris?
Okay, one thing I have here is a note from, the legislative assistant in the office of, Senator Vicky Sawyer. We met with her last month, and the comment I brought up was around the greenway going up Tally Street. You know, it's been 4 years I was on planning, it's come up over and over and over. And it was always, money been appropriated, but we're waiting on DOT. DOT has to get this right of way stuff. So, I brought it up in our meeting, and so, her assistant Gabriel asked that I would, share with the council, with the members of the council that, she has sent a note to the NCDOT, a lady named Monica, asked if you'd be able to check on the status and timeline of the below project for the town of Troutman. Please let us know if you need any additional details. So they did call, out of that meeting, made a call to the DOT. We haven't got an answer back on what they said yet. At least we got them looking at it. You had brought up things about the DOT also, so I felt like that was another one that, it's pretty dangerous walking down that road.
And I have had a couple of citizens also inquire and mentioned that was brought up with Senator Sawyer to help with some communication there. It was definitely brought up in some of our transportation conversations. You know, things have kind of stalled out, but hopefully we can get that moving because it is a request by both our citizens and really much needed.
Yeah, and it's been, you know, for a long time, there's the next one approved and just kept getting pushed back.
Yes.
I actually took, my wife and made her, took a walk down there, she said, "Don't you ever put me on the street walk again." I just walked that distance from Advance over to the next Lytton. She said, "This is dangerous." I said, "You think most people walk all the way out
Yeah, I was
there?"
gonna say, yeah, they're coming in further.
Yes, they go a lot further than that.
This whole situation goes back probably 4 years. And it's been dragging on, and, you know, we apply for grants, we wait, and we finally got everything going, and then, you know, somebody at DOT doesn't do their job, and as a result, citizens all across the state are suffering. This being one of the projects. The federal funds are there, but they can't be released unless DOT approves it. DOT can't approve it because technically the funds are not there. It's a shell game, it's political hogwash, and I am just fed up. These people down on Tally Street did all they could in donating land for the sidewalk down there years ago with the hopes of getting this, and we told them that, you know, their cooperation would go a long way in getting a sidewalk down there, and now for it to be so close, only to be stonewalled because of DOT's situation is just atrocious. And as you may remember, I let, you know, even though she's not responsible, I pass that along to the people that, you know, if you get hopefully something done, whether it's DOT or the General Assembly, so that we can again get these projects moving forward that have languished for way too long. And when the funds are technically there, but because of a footnote, if you will, they're not there. It's just, I mean, it's unbelievable. So I agree with you 100%, and I certainly hope something can come from our conversation with Senator Sawyer or whomever. That
Yeah, I
this
guess
project finally-
some of it was the right of way too. The DOT has to do all that stuff, I think. We can't do it, and that's the other holdup.
Yeah, they still got work to do.
Yeah, and that's what I was, my point for that day was around that part with the right of ways. That's all I have.
Well, I was gonna say, you know, a lot of the right of way was donated by the citizens, the residents down there. So I don't know why that would be a major thing for them. And again, this thing been going on for so long, I just, I don't understand where, you know, this right of way situation coming up. There may be something that I'm not aware of, but that was the biggest holdup. we're getting the citizens, I say hold up, the biggest question, we're getting the residents down there to donate enough of their frontage to take care of that project, and they did that, and in good faith. And if there is anything left, then shame on Dot, for after 40+ years, still, letting that whole project up as well. Because they've seen this come down the pipe, things have been approved, even on the federal level, which can even be slower than the state level sometimes. So it all is just a circus of errors in my part and malfeasance, not malfeasance, but ineptitude in Dot and getting things done, and especially lately. So obviously, I'm very stressed at NC Dot, and I'm hoping something can be done. I would love to see this at least shoveled, ready, dirt turned or something, by the time I'm no longer sitting here at this chair. But I'm beginning to wonder if I'm even going to be allowed to see it done at this point in time. Anyhow, so, I just want to thank staff for doing what they've been able to do and get done over the past few weeks with COVID and such, COVID going around and so forth, and even to the point affecting some folks close to home. I'll leave it at that. But those of the ones that were still able to be here at Town Hall and get the job done and work double, triple duty, thank you. And for the ones who worked from home, even though they were not feeling well, did the same, thank you for that. And I'm glad we have started a regular routine program of fumigating Town Hall now, and give our staff as well as visitors and council a sense of safety now when they come into this building. And I certainly look forward to the end of this pandemic in the next few months, if not sooner. But again, I just want to thank staff and also thank Emily and for the volunteers for the wonderful decorations we have in this town. Nothing but compliments have been heard about them and continue to be heard, and very grateful for that. And just think of anything else, at this point in time, I'll pass it on to Stratus and finish.
Ms. Williams?
I too would like to thank staff and Emily and volunteers, and thank you for the listening to the citizens and turning everything on earlier. It's been gorgeous. A lot of people have taken the liberties of using it for photo ops, and it really looks nice. Thank you. Also, seeing that discussion today that for the South Iredell Greenway project to close it out. I don't know if anybody's aware of it, and I know it's a little late notice and we can't have a lot of people in, but I don't know if anybody is aware that South Iredell was awarded the Wachovia Cup, and I'm not sure if any of you know what the Wachovia Cup is, but it's among the area high schools, and it goes upon your attendance and your record, school record for different sporting teams, and they won it for this past school year. So I would like to recognize them somehow for that achievement, because that during the pandemic, that wasn't a very easy thing to do, at least the second semester of last year.
Him and I can talk about what that could look like, maybe the three of us. So, I thought I was going to be the only one to get to talk about the lighting, but you beat me to it, Ms. Williams. So, lighting looks good. Heard some good feedback from citizens, particularly on the deer. Good ad. I think there was a hope that nobody would deface them or do anything. So, but they look good. I'll leave it alone. Again, I think the way we've dressed up the town looks really good for our town. It's a good look. I also want to mention that, again, we talked about COVID. There's been some discussions between the mayors and our chairman of our county commission late last week on Friday. We did a group push to really encourage our citizens to mask up they presented this sign here and asking, you know, the different towns and cities to do some photo ops, put it on their social media. Any individual can do it. If you'd like to hold it, do a selfie, put it on your own Facebook page, whatever it is, to really encourage folks to mask up as we continue to see the numbers increase. The hospitals were present, and they are really getting to a point where their numbers are really increasing, and it is starting to tax our hospitals, even here in Hardin County. And so, again, I encourage folks to, particularly when you're out in public, to mask up for your own safety, but also for the safety of others. So, again, I'll have this here. Maybe the staff can take a photo. I'll also put it on our Facebook page. But also encourage council to do the same. Again, continue to ask folks to mask up, and you know, particularly when they're out and about in the community. Doesn't take a whole lot, but again, I think it will go a long way for us to hopefully not see some additional restrictions coming down from the governor in terms of trying to slow the virus. So thank you for doing that.
Mayor, just one thing, are you finished? I was wondering, one thing that came to mind that, you know, something I'd forgotten to mention a while ago. I wanted to ask Steve regarding our planning department and the empty position. You know, we have entered there now, the empty position. Are we about to hire someone to fill that position, or?
We have extended an offer. He is considering the offer. He's had some questions that he needed answered, and we've gone back and forth a couple of times, including today, and he should be getting back to us, I would say within the next few days, hopefully.
Along that line, is it is it optimistic looking that direction?
I feel confident or optimistic about it.
Okay. That was something I was gonna ask later, but thank you, volunteer. I had someone ask me about that over the weekend.
Right?
You never know. You can get left standing at the altar, but, you know.
Way of putting it. So with that, next item is staff comments. So I'll ask Mr. Shealy.
Okay, I just have a few quick things, and then I'm going to ask our interim planning director to come in, and he had an update for you that's not on the agenda, but it's just a quick update for you. But you have in your packets the monthly update on revenues. As you can see, they continue to hold steady or even improve. I think if you look at property tax, it may not look as good this month as last year this month, but taken from September through November, we're well ahead of where we were. And that's just a matter of what month people choose to write their check in. But overall, we're well ahead of last year this time. Sales tax is continuing to stay strong, surprisingly. Do have a correction, or point out a correction. I suddenly realized as I was putting in this month's water sewer billing that what I thought was the grand total each month was actually a charge type subtotal. And so I was only giving you the water figures and not the combined water and sewer. So I've gone back all the way to July and corrected those figures to show the total billing for the month, instead of just about, 60% of it. You weren't getting the
So these are correct
sewer.
here now?
These are correct
Okay.
now. If you go back and look at the the update you got last month, they were in the $90,000 range as opposed to 160-some thousand, because I was picking up the subtotal, not the total. So I apologize for that. But overall, our revenues are looking, I think, very strong, especially considering what we were afraid they'd look like at this time. That leads me into our next item, which is back during budget proposal, we had proposed a 2% increase. Council decided to give 1% in July and wait and see how things looked, and then we would consider whether to give the other 1% in January or sometime later in the year. And since we're now in December and this is the last meeting before January, would like to maybe have some discussion or get some input as to whether or not you feel we're in position to go ahead with that other 1% increase for staff, keeping in mind I think the above and beyond they've gone during the past 6 months or so, well, 9 months, really.
Any comments?
Steve, I was gonna, what would be your recommendation that we, we're financially sound enough that we could afford that?
I certainly think so, and it's budgeted, the money is there, our revenues are strong. I feel like the staff's been shown themselves to be very deserving of it, so yes, I would recommend it.
I would agree that we should go with the other 1%. As I said way back there, we should have to balance the budget off their salaries, but in that we don't have to anyhow, because y'all have done a great job of bringing the money in. So I think, and like you said, they've done a good job. It should be nice to tell them before Christmas that that's coming up in next month. I think it'd be the right thing to do.
Other comments?
I agree.
Now?
I agree also, sir.
All right. I think we had made the motion back in the summer that we wait until now. I don't know if we need another motion to move forward with it or not.
I think it might be good procedurally just to go ahead and take a quick vote.
So can I
I'd feel better
have
about
a
it.
motion?
I'll make that motion that we give the employees the other 1% that we put in the budget this past year.
Okay. Is there a second? Motion's made, received a second. Any other question or comment? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion passes.
Okay, thank you.
Next item.
I'm sure the staff thanks you as well.
Yeah.
The next item is the closeout of the South Iredell Greenway project, and I had this put on there thinking I was going to need some direction. However, I did look back and find an email that kind of clarified the concern that I had. So, don't know how aware you are of the fact that during the paving of that project, there was some issues where some core samples were not taken properly, and there's been some paving costs disallowed by the state. It actually amounted to about $100,000 worth of paving. They have agreed to waive 50% of that, so we're really talking about roughly $50,000 that they will not be reimbursing us for. I felt like maybe there might be some issue or maybe a possibility of putting some of that burden on the contractor, but according to the state, that they did not feel like that would be justified. So really at this point, it's just more of a heads up that as we close this project out, there may be some additional town funding involved that we weren't expecting.
Who's at fault? Who didn't take more samples as they supposed to?
It's kind of complicated. There was somewhat, you could expect the contractor to make sure they were done. There was a third party inspector on site that apparently had to leave during the day when that was being done. Also, we have an on-site inspector out there through West Consultants. But the ultimate responsibility was, the town's apparently should have made sure it was done. Or at least that's the state DOT's take on the project.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last part, to make sure what?
I said apparently it's the state's decision that it falls ultimately on the town. Now, there were a couple of people that could have, made sure it got done, either the third-party inspector, the West Consultant inspector, or the paving contractor, but, the town specifically, us, we didn't have a staff person out there to see that it was being done, but,
So we're
I
talking
can't
about
say.
$50,000 mistake.
mhm.
That's a pretty expensive mistake. Who should have been responsible from the town?
We hire we hire a firm
With
to do
consultants,
that.
right?
Yes.
So it really it falls back to them? Or the town manager, or Public
I don't know.
Works, or, somebody, at the end of the day, that fall has to be responsible.
No, Public Works wouldn't be out there at all. They're not involved in this type
Okay,
of
I'm
project.
just,
so.
because, that's a very expensive mistake.
What does Benji have to say about this? I mean, I would have thought that West Consultants would be our man
Mhm.
out there to make sure these things are done. That's what we pay them for.
Yeah. This particular project was one of, not Benji's, but Todd Petite's. He's a partner, and they kind of divvy up the projects. This was one of his, but I don't know. We've kind of gone round and round with this over several months, and everybody kind of seems to think it's somebody else's issue, So I really don't have a good answer. In the end result, that it's our project, and
I understand it's our project, but we don't have staff
mhm.
here that is certified to do that type work. That's why we hire West Consultants to represent us in that matter.
Mhm.
I understand.
Gary, do we have any recourse on this that you see?
We'd have to look at the contracts.
It would cost us nothing really for Gary to look at the contract and see what kind of recourses we would have, because, again, I'm just still bringing it out. $50,000 mistake, not in our pocket.
Right.
When we didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, Gary, I was about to ask the same thing. Is that something that maybe we can share with Gary, just have him give us an opinion on, based on the contract, and kind of, the circle that you have been involved in, Steve.
Okay,
Is there
I'll
some
pass
other
along
recourse?
all the emails I can find in the engineering contract, but then we'll give you an update.
When, Steve, would you be able to ballpark when this mistake was made? What month,
Goodness,
what year?
this goes back to, I guess, probably in 2018, no, early 2019 maybe. This project has kind of drug along for quite some time, and there is kind of a deadline coming up to get it, closed out by the end of the fiscal year, but I think it went back to probably the spring of 2019.
So, the town manager should have kept up on this project then, too, right?
I guess that's where the buck would stop, yes.
You said that it started off at 100,000 and somebody waived 50,000.
DOT.
DOT.
Mhm.
What is, so DOT's not really saying this is some particular person's mistake. They're just saying it's not their mistake, and they'll help us 50,000, but not the other 50,000.
Correct.
So it's up to us to, I guess, since we're the ones going to ultimately buck the stops here, where, as Andy says, we're $50,000 possibly in the hole here. I agree with the mayor and Eddie and, whomever else, Gary, I would love for you to check into that and see, I wanna know where this mistake happened. It's 50,000 this time, what could it be next time? 50,000 is not, but I certainly don't want it to happen again, and I'd like to know who dropped the ball, literally.
Okay. I'll get everything together and forward it to Gary. Okay, at this time, I'd like to ask Jonathan, our interim planner, to come in. He wants to give you an update on the trackside project. So, do you want to get him, or is he?
I've seen
somewhere
bushes
else?
planted out there, and the trees.
Okay. I wasn't sure if he was one of those for him. Thank you, Gary.
So I just wanted to give a real brief update on the, thank you. I wanted to give a real brief update on the Trackside Road property. I'm sure we all recall that during the September board meeting, there was discussion of terms and conditions under which the property owner would be able to be relieved from the 5-year prohibition that was imposed on him approximately 3 years ago by Erica Martin. I received a call the middle of last week from Mr. Norman's engineer, who asked that we meet out at the property. I was out there on Thursday afternoon, this past Thursday. I was pretty impressed with the extent of the planning material that had been completed during the last several weeks. I took a few photographs, which I circulated here. I was showing what type of planning material and the extent and the magnitude of the planning material that he had completed out there. The larger trees that you see there are Leyland cypress. They're in the range of 6 to 8 feet in height. They're planted 8 trees per 100 running feet. He planted a total of 80 trees out there. I will not sit here and tell you that I counted each and every tree, but I did walk all the way to the back of the property and then back out to the front of the property on the other side. And he did plant literally hundreds of shrubs out there. I was pretty impressed with the number and variety and type of shrubs that he had completed the planting of out there. So, and it is my position, therefore, because his 90-day threshold, I believe, is up in about a week or so, I wanted to report back to the board that he's made substantial progress on that. I am still working with Mr. Norman and his site engineer on a number of other site development and improvement issues, particularly around the area of the highway access and the parking area towards the front of the site. Right now, my latest communication with the State Department of Transportation is, and this was, again, this past Thursday, so it was less than a week ago, that the application for the highway access permit in accordance with site plan that had been provided to me by Mr. Norman's engineer approximately 6 weeks ago has been applied for and is currently under review. I am a little reluctant to get the completion of my review of the parking area portion of the site too far ahead of the state review, because I want to make sure that our review and the state review are running concurrent and are consistent with one another. This continues to be a priority of mine, and I'll be sure to keep the board posted as additional progress is being made. I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody might have.
I do have a couple questions.
Sure.
According to this that that we received back in October, it says that he's to plant, I guess, 53 trees. I don't know if that, I guess that was on a scale of so many feet. Was that including the evergreen trees, or, because he has here a listing of evergreens, deciduous, and then shrubs? And
Yeah.
I can't tell the difference on here, which are the evergreen and the deciduous.
The final version of that, that may not be the final version. The final version that was agreed upon did give him and his arborist a certain amount of latitude in species selection. Frankly, I was pleased that he selected the Leland cypress, because it's more of a solid screen than, let's say, a shade tree would be, where the crown of the tree would be up above and you'd be looking at eye level at the trunk of the tree. So the Leland cypress is, because it's an evergreen, it wouldn't shed its leaves in the wintertime, and
Right.
it would provide more of a solid screen as well. So
Right.
that I think was a pleasing addition rather than a subtraction.
Okay. I was just wondering, I had spoke to Paul Ryan about it, and he said that you had been in contact with him and to speak to you about it, which I was going to, but then you brought in a report about it today. Thank you.
Well, and the timing couldn't have been better, because like I said, I think I got a call last Tuesday, was able to schedule time last Thursday, knowing full well that you would be meeting this week, and that his deadline was only about a week or 10 days away. So I think the timing was good. Like I said, we're not kind of out of the woods yet, but I'm pretty optimistic that he's going to continue to work with us on that parking lot area.
Jonathan, does the trees, you said you walked the entire lot, does the landscaping go all the way to the very back, or to where I guess an area that he didn't clear?
Yeah, he ran it to as far as the area that he stopped clearing. So in other words, he didn't put the buffering between what little portion of the site is still wooded and his neighbors. He stopped it where the undisturbed wooded area started.
And I assume this photo, this top photo that you provided here, that's on the side where he has current neighbors?
Yeah, thanks for asking that question, Mayor. The top photo on the first page, which shows the solid screen fence there, would be on the north side that does abut the other residential properties. On the bottom part of that same page, you can see the little garage building off to the left. We're actually requiring him, and he has screened his property from basically its pasture land to the south. On the second page, I took those two photographs in the same general vicinity. I wanted to get a little bit closer view of the individual plantings, and that's what I illustrated there. But you can see off to the right of the photograph that there is vacant land. I think it's being used as pasture right now.
And those cypress trees, did he tell you what the average height will be on those?
What you mean upon maturity?
Fully grown, yeah.
Oh, I don't know that for certain. He didn't tell me that, and, but, you know, these are young trees, so I suspect that they will grow considerably.
Well, Leland cypress grows pretty quick, and they're gonna be about probably 30 feet tall or so,
Yeah, the ones out there, I agree, you're right. They can grow tall. They can
and
certainly grow
quick.
tall.
Well, I think you can buy some that will grow tall. So you can buy them that will grow 6 to 8 feet. You can buy them that will grow 20 to 30 feet, and some that will go taller. I was just curious in terms of which ones did he plant here. Other questions?
I will add one more comment on this, and when I see this type of kind of ambitious landscaping, my concern always is the durability of it over time, and I did specifically ask him if the nurseries from which he purchased this planting material a warranty or guarantees it, and he said since he had bought it from a variety of different sources, he did not get warranties. And I said, well, you do know that our UDO requires that this planting material be maintained, and if something dies, you're obligated to replace it, and he seemed to understand that, so.
And that was your conversation directly with him?
Yes.
Or? Okay.
Yeah, and, you know, of course, it is in our ordinance that if something is installed for the site plan requirements, et cetera, and something does die, that it's the responsibility of the property owner to replace it and make sure that it's properly maintained.
Don, you said it was 8 trees per 100 feet? I heard you say a while ago.
Yeah, I'm looking at my field notes here, 8 trees per 100 linear feet is what he had put in there.
And one question, the smaller, what look like shrubs instead of trees, what are those in the pictures I'm seeing?
You know, he used a variety of different types there, and he didn't specifically, and frankly, I didn't ask what the individual types of bushes and shrubs are. I could certainly reach out to him and ask if he could give me a specific plant list.
If you got there, and, you know, this on the second page top, and even on the bottom, picture on the second page, you know, it looks like, you know, you've got a tree, and then on both sides, you've got these smaller, again, appears to be shrubs as opposed to trees.
Well, and that's what he had suggested, that's what we prescribed, and so this is by mutual agreement that we not have a solid screen of only mature trees, but a variety of different sizes and heights of different types of vegetation, including shrubs as well as taller trees.
Okay.
Other comments? Okay, we ask you to stay on top of it, Jonathan. I hear you say it's a priority, so we appreciate that.
I appreciate the time.
I guess the next thing is to go over the Thursday night's agenda. One of the lightest agendas in recent memory, I think, so.
At least on paper.
At least on paper, that doesn't mean time-wise, yes. But after the regular call to order and agenda adoption type items, you have the consent agenda, which is 11 sets of minutes, which kind of indicates how busy the council has been. Then public comment section, as usual. Our next item is presentation of the audit. Phyllis Pearson of Petway Mills and Pearson will be in-house to present that and give you an update on the town's financial status. And you have a request by the Iredell County Economic Development Corporation for an economic incentive, and you'll have a public hearing and on that, and then consider approval of the incentive. And then your regular elected officials and staff comments.
As I read through the audit, it looks like it was a pretty good audit.
Yes.
I mean, I read through all of it, and I thought, it looked really well.
I think it looks very good. I think you'll be well pleased.
May make a comment on that. While Steve's been with us for many years, we've had good audits every time. And it's a testament to Steve's thoroughness, ability, and competence. And I, for one, have always been very grateful, whether I'm on the council or not. And, he's been our financial officer, because he has done one very good job.
Thank you, Bob.
Now we just need to figure out how to get him to stay another year.
We'll have to see about that.
Anything else on general business? Hearing none, I'll accept the motion that we go into closed session to discuss economic development as well as a personnel matter. According to North Carolina General Statutes 143-318, 11A4, and 11.6. Is there such a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion is made that we go into closed session. Is there a second?
No second?
Motion made, receive the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, I'd ask that Gary stay in the room. Need Kim, Ms. Foster's here, and Steve, welcome to stay in the room.